can anticipate your records.
Sure.
I mean, to where you can say, I'm looking, I'd like to see him come out with another one.
Right.
And I think if you got one every year, every 6 months, every year, eventually maybe people don't. I mean, let's say there's artists that I know of that, I bought their early recordings.
Yeah.
And then, but then they kept coming out with recordings every year or so.
Right.
Eventually, I just didn't keep up with it anymore.
Well, it's hard, and there's a lot of product out there.
Oh, there's tons of product, yeah. Way more, especially, I did a Cajun radio show on WWOZ, which is a public community radio station here in New Orleans. And I was, I did a radio show for 4.5 years, from 1982 to 86.
You were a DJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doing Cajun music and a volunteer program.
Uh-huh.
And once a week. And the show's still going on today. And, when I was there, I mean, you'd get a new album. Of course, we're spinning albums.
Right.
I don't even know if I ever did play a CD.
Right.
They might have come out. I don't know how much was coming out, but in Cajun music, maybe 1 or 2 albums a month. Maybe
Yeah.
one, maybe 10, 12 a year.
Right.
I'd say today it's maybe 4 or 5 times that, I guess.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Maybe more. In fact, last night, I got to tell you, I'm not into computers and a lot of the modern things. I don't carry a phone on me everywhere I go.
Right.
I'm not into all that. But I did get on the internet last night, and I just was looking around, and it's something that I never do. I tell people I've only seen my own homepage like 3 times. It's not like I spend a lot of time looking at it.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe I should pay a little more attention to it, make it better. It's just computers and something I haven't really. In order to, if I got extra time, I prefer picking up an instrument.
Right.
And playing, music.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was looking last night, and they got the listing of all the Cajun and Zydeco bands in Louisiana, and I just decided to print it up. I counted 155 that were listed.
My gosh.
So that's, and then they had another listing that has there's Cajun bands in Denmark, there's some in England, there's France, other countries. Australia had one listed. I mean, if you count all of them, it may be 300 or so. Who knows?
Right.
So that's a lot more than there was when I started playing, let's say, for instance, years ago. So I guess I'm leading us in circles. I don't.
Well, the interesting thing about your comment is that Dewey Balfoe, we talked about the 60s when we started, Dewey Balfoe would have considered what you just said to be a tremendous success based upon where he came from when he started playing outside the area. And it seems as if the success can get so big it actually swallows opportunities, though, for people to make a living at it.
Yeah. Well, you know what I was going to say? I guess to finish the last thought I was on before I started another one.
Right.
Was, the start with my records, when I first went in the studio in the 80s to make records, I'd get in there and I'd start playing, and I was saying, well, I want to get through this song without making a mistake.
Right.
And, of course, the last 2 records I made, I was much more relaxed and I think played with more feeling.
Right.
But I will say this, on the first 2 albums I made, the songs were very good.
Yeah.
In other words, I would not, I could go back, if I had the funds, it would be interesting to go back and recut some of the songs I did on the first 2 albums. Because I can sing better and play them better.
Right.
Than I did 15 years ago, or whatever it was when I recorded those songs. But I would not change anything about the songs themselves.
Right.
In other words, I don't know if you have any of my recordings.
I have the first and I have the last. So I have Stir Up the Roo and Paradise.
Yeah, I would not change anything on the Stir Up the Roo record as far as the songs.
Right.
I like the songs. Some of them songs are very popular among the French Canadians. But I could play them and sing them better today.
Right.
But of course, I'm not too much into a lot. There are artists that re-record the same song like I don't know how many times in their career. I'm not too much into picking up several albums by the same artist and seeing the same song repeated over and over.
Right. Well, do you still feel you write as much as you used to, or more so, or do you have it?
Actually, lately, no, not really.
it must get tougher as you get older, as you get kids, as you play more.
That's what it is. It's not really that, it's, being creative and writing songs and all that, it's a frame of mind.
Yeah.
And I find, with a family and kids and everything, and house and everything you got, I just don't seem to have much time to get in that kind of frame of mind.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kids. I mean, I got little kids, and it's kids.
That's it. In other words, I've on my 4 albums, I guess one thing that's sort of, to some degree, set me apart is that on the 4 albums I've made, I've written about 80% of the material.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's unusual for Cajun music.
That's right.
And and I have a lot of songs that I could put, new songs that I could put on another album.
Yeah.
That I just haven't recorded.
Yeah.
But I got to get where the investment comes back on the last one. And I would say overall, Stir Up the Roof, maybe Rounder could tell you how much it sold, but I would guess, I would think it comfortably sold maybe around 15,000.
Right. Okay.
Maybe 20.
I don't know the raw numbers, but that would be a strong Rounder seller in any genre.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, except
aren't doing as bad as I think they are.
except for an Alison Krauss.
Right.
I mean, what was it, Bruce? Not Bruce. Bill Nowlin said to me. He was down here in Austin for South by Southwest in March, and I was at their showcase, and we were talking, and there was some woman singer-songwriter singing. It was nothing of particular interest to me. I don't think it was of particular interest to Bill, but her name's Sarah Harmer, and she's gotten a lot of attention. She strums her guitar and sings her songs, and she has a small band behind her. And Bill said that the record had sold 30,000, and he said that's as big as anything in their world. I mean, bigger than anything, except...
I'd be very happy with that. Well, I would say, I'm just guessing, I know to Stir Up the Roof, I'm sure, I know it's well over 10.
Right.
And it could easily be 15. Or
yeah.
And I think my second album, Code de Gajam, I'm sure sold at least about 10,000.
Right.
So I guess that was good sellers.
Those are good. I mean, 15 is certainly a good seller. You get the old time records, they'll sell 5.
Well, that's what I was just saying. My third album, T.T. Cadeau.
Yeah.
It's got a picture of me and my oldest daughter on the cover. A cadeau is a gift.
Okay. A little gift.
It's a little gift from God.
Okay.
And it's a great album cover. And I think that one sold probably around 5,000.
Yeah.
And my last one. Now, I'm just saying what Rounder sold.
Well, I understand. You sell them from the gigs, right?
The Paradis on Rounder Paradise, like in the first 6 months, they said they sold like around 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then within the last couple of statements I got, they're saying they're getting more, like returns.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyway, got the mailman coming here. I'm sitting on my front porch.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, of course, now maybe I've sold, I'm sure 1,000 or so,
Of Paradis?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I have,
Right.
But I don't have an accurate count. I sent a lot out for promotions. But,
Right.
So I mean, I guess my last couple of records, were around 5,000.
Right.
The first was around 10 to 15.
Yeah.
So and yet I know the last ones are high quality. I guess it's just. In fact, I think I think on Paradis, I feel I'm real proud of that record. I think it's a very good record.
Well, I was talking to Peter Schwartz, who I'm sure you know, and we were talking about his work with the Playboys and just his thoughts about some of these things. And he said that one of the things they wrestled with is what he considered the reality that for anything but a really small market, any kind of broader market, wrestles with the idea that they just kind of listen to the dance flow and the music kind of washes over them. A lot of it starts to sound the same to non-French speakers and people really unfamiliar with the intricacies or the nuances of the music. a lot of it sounds the same, and so they might say, "Oh, I've got 5 Cajun records. One's by Bruce Daigrepont, one's by Balfour, one's by Beausoleil," and they feel that they've got a good enough library for anything they want to do.
That's true. There's probably a lot of people. In fact, maybe that's why our sales are. I mean, I don't know if I'm the only guy that's saying this, but maybe that's why the sales have really dropped. That people feel like they got 4 or 5, and they're not. I mean, you got to be a really strong fan to keep buying them. A lot of people, I guess, are just sort of casual, fans. And
right.
I tell you something else that I think, and the record companies will say just the opposite. The compilation recordings.
Yeah.
I mean, the record companies say, well, that's one way that people find out about you. And I'm sure there are some people who have told me, they say, well, I heard about you when I bought this compilation.
Right.
And so forth. I mean, I know it happens, but I think there are so many compilations today. If you go in a record store, there's about as many compilations as there are albums by the actual artist.
Right.
The songs are recycled in so many different packages, and I think to some degree, I mean, if a tourist comes down this way and they say, I want Cajun music, and rather than maybe going by, they might say, well, Bruce Daigrepont plays at Tipitina's on Sundays, and they might say, well, I could buy that. Oh, but look over here. I can get 1 or 2 of Bruce Daigrepont. I can get a couple of Steve Rileys and Beausoleil and whoever else, the Balfours and all that. So I get more of a mixture here, a little bit of variety.
Right.
So I think there's the compilations. This is my own opinion.
Sure.
I think in some ways they may help the artist because occasionally it does get somebody into your music, because they say, I heard you on a compilation, and I want to go out and buy your other album.
Right.
But I do think that in a lot of ways that people are just saying, well, let me buy this. I get more of a variety.
Yeah.
I think there's so many compilations today.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else has expressed that to you.
Peter did.
Right.
Peter did. I talked to Peter. I talked to Dirk. Dirk didn't talk about that, but Peter did.
The same way I did?
Yeah, he was bothered by it, and he thought a lot of them were knocked off pretty cheaply. He objected to the fact that the band sometimes wasn't even consulted about the songs that were going to go on them.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, right. I was in Europe one time playing, and I was had a day off, and I went to a little town in Holland, and we just saw a record store, and we walked in, looked around, and I found this compilation just looking. It's called Border Music.
Uh-huh.
And first thing I know, I saw my name on the cover, and I didn't know about it. I don't know about these compilations. There's so many of them.
Right.
I bought a few of them just to have a collection and say I'm on these records.
Sure.
But I don't have all of them. I don't even, collect them. They don't send me a copy or anything.
Yeah.
And but I'm on, this one, Border Music, is like half Cajun and half music from like Toronto music.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know. I just think that perhaps there's so many of them now that a lot of people, rather than buying the records of the artist, and what you're saying,
yeah,
they're just they're just figure they got a few.
Yeah.
Something that I've found, going into another subject, kind of, but related to this.
Huh?
I've found that my songs have had a large audience in the Acadian regions of New Brunswick and Nova Scotia,
Mm-hmm.
and Prince Edward Island, the Maritimes.
Right.
I've gone up there. This is pretty interesting, I guess you'd say. Okay, back in the early '90s, I went and played there for the first time. So I've been going there about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a warm reception, and then I went like 91, 92, 93, and always had a real good reception, Then I went again in 95, and they booked us to play at a hockey arena called the Forum in Bouctouche, New Brunswick.
Mm-hmm.
That afternoon, the people asked me, they said, do you want barricades in front of the stage? I said, I just kind of laughed. I said, what do you mean, barricades in front of the stage, And the ironic part is the night before we played on Prince Edward Island in a place that was kind of boycotted by the public for about 30 people, okay?
Yeah.
So we show up in this hockey arena, and it's like 1,500 to 2,000 people packed shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
Okay, and there's all these guys with walkie-talkies and security outfits all around and everything. We walk on the stage, and people start screaming. Okay, we didn't know what the hell was going on. I started playing in particular my songs that I had written.
Right.
People started singing right back to me.
Oh, that's a great feeling, isn't it?
Well, it's something that we don't experience when we play Cajun music.
Yeah.
Because we play 95% or 99% of the time for English-speaking audience.
Right.
So all of a sudden, I get in the microphone, I start singing my songs, and the people are singing right back at me, and they know the songs word for word.
Yeah.
Now, I turned around and looked at the band, and we were all looking at each other. We couldn't believe it. We had no idea. So if you research in the music business, what's interesting with this is that there was no promotion
Yeah.
of any kind. You don't walk into a place where they sell recordings over there and see a poster of me or anything. In fact, not only is there no promotion, you can't find my recordings in the stores. They're not there.
Yeah.
And yet everybody in the communities could sing my songs.
Yeah.
So I was evidently getting a lot of radio airplay and didn't even know it.
I see. Well, and
so now they invited me back, like, to do the same gig like 6-7 years in a row.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, here we are playing. I mean, I play all over. I mean, I've done, I play all around Louisiana. I go around the country. I play festivals and stuff. I go to Europe, and you see people dancing and enjoying the sound and the feel of the music. But for the most part, they don't understand. See, when I write these songs, I write a song. I try to put a message into it.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes over the heads of the vast majority of our audience.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
here I go play for these French-speaking people who understand the words and the message to the songs. It was, I mean, if somebody said, "What is the most gratifying thing that ever happened to you in your career?" That would be it.
Yeah.
Bar none. I mean, I played a couple of times at Wolf Trap, which was an honor. We played with Booker T and the MGs and Doc Watson. I consider that one of the highlights.
Bruce?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just dropped out. Your voice dropped out.
Yeah, that's from. I'll just ignore that.
Okay.
In other words, I played with Doc Watson, Booker T and the MGs. I played at the Lincoln Center, National Folk Festival. All those things are highlights.
Right.
But nothing is nearly as gratifying as playing for the French Acadian people, our cousins.
Yeah.
And they can sing my songs, and then I walk around festivals over there, and I'm just walking around. All of a sudden, I hear all these bands playing my songs everywhere. But the weird part is they cannot buy. I've talked around about it. I've said, hell, we got an audience over here. I mean, it's not a huge audience, but I bet you could sell probably 10,000 copies.
Well, sure. When you're dealing on the scale of 5,000 records, it becomes a huge audience.
Well, you're talking about. I tell you what. New Brunswick has about 300,000 Acadians.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia has 80,000. So, you're talking about maybe 400,000 Acadians in America.
Right.
Right there. There's an audience to sell these recordings, but the problem is you're dealing with a different country. Their dollar is not nearly worth what our dollar is. There are import taxes. So, realistically, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Of course, when I talk around it, they'll say, well, we got distribution in Canada. Well, sure. If you go in the best record store in Halifax, you may find a copy of one of my CDs.
Yeah.
If you go to the best store in Montreal, you'll probably find one or two copies. But these people don't live, they're in these little communities on the coast, and if you don't get the product close to where they live, you're not going to sell it.
I gather Rounder's response, while they made a response to you, it just kind of seemed unsatisfying in the end.
Well,
they could.
There's an audience that I bet you that I could probably sell more over there than what I'm selling in the United States.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I try to relay that message to them. And yet, I don't like to say this. Okay, when I talk about the people singing my songs over there, and I tell people about it, and the response that we've gotten over there, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging.
Oh, well.
Because I'm not bragging. I'm just amazed at it.
It's great.
Something that, yeah. Hey, Steve?
Oh, I'm here. You got something going on?
Wait, you know what?
What?
Steve? Steve?
Well, I'm Mike. Hello, Bruce? Can you hear me, Bruce?
Yeah, I tell you what, let me go, I'll try to get another phone.
Okay.
Let me come inside. Hey, Steve? Yeah. Let me go. I need another phone. His phone goes out every so often.
Okay.
Okay. Steve?
Now, you talking to your son?
Wait. Steve, I'm calling you Steve.
Yeah, I'm Mike. That's why I'm wondering.
Okay, Michael, wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm on another phone.
Okay.
I tell you what, can you hold on?
Sure.
I was on the cordless phone on my front porch.
Okay.
But it's sometimes it goes out like that. I tell you what, if you give me about 1 minute, I'll walk to another building I got in the back, and I'll go on the phone back there.
Okay, no problem.
So I'll get my wife to talk to you for 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
I think that other phone is probably still turned on, but
Wait,
Sue will catch that.
that might be better.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, well, I came to another place.
Okay.
That cordless phone, every once in a while it does that. It's like all of a sudden after you talk on it a while, it just seems to go out.
Yeah, well, it happens to mine too. I don't carry a cell phone either. Well, we got a cordless phone in the house like you have, but I don't carry a cell phone either. Those things drive me
I'm
crazy.
not into that. In fact, I went on. I just finished about 6 trips that I went on in about 6 weeks, and Sue talked me into taking it on some of the trips, figuring maybe I'll need it.
Uh-huh.
I went on one of the trips and I lost it because I'm not used to carrying it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I said, look, I might lose it. I said,
Right.
It's a habit, and either you're in the habit of doing that or not.
I understand.
And I'm not in the habit of carrying one of them, and not overly interested in having a phone on me all the time.
That's my feeling. I don't need to get called.
So anyway, well, let's see. I'm trying to.
Well, I have a question that branches off of some of the things you were saying.
Okay.
If you could, I got 2 questions. I hope I can keep
I'm
them.
leading too much. I need to listen to what you have.
Well, I'm real interested in what you're saying. So the stuff about selling and songwriting is I find real helpful and useful to me and good stuff. But I'm interested in whether or not you have any idea or are able to have any idea in most cases about who your purchasers are, who your potential audience is. I mean, by which I mean, are they young? Are they old? Do they know any French? Are they just English speakers? Are they folkies who listen to all sorts of music like conjunto and old time? Or do you have the slightest idea who they are, or any way to find out?
I guess it's a mixture of all those people you mentioned.
Okay, but is that just
you got actual Cajun people here in Louisiana
Sure.
who followed the Cajun French music all their lives.
Right.
And there are those people, but I think the sad part about that is that probably most of those people don't go out and buy CDs.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
In fact, probably lots of those people don't have CD players.
Yeah. Okay.
They're generally older people.
Right.
And they're the French-speaking people here in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And I guess there are a group of people that just like different types of music.
Right.
And they'll follow, like you say, our music and conjunto music and, old time, any kind of, traditional forms of music.
Right, exactly.
I think primarily it's probably a little bit older audience.
Okay.
I don't think there's too many teenagers out there buying our CDs. It's people probably in their 40s on up, maybe
Right.
occasionally younger people. I guess one thing I don't know how you find out, exactly what your audience is. I don't really think of, when I write a song or I make a record, I'm not necessarily thinking about trying to, how can I say this? I mean, I hope the audience likes it.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to satisfy any particular element of an audience. I don't follow trends.
Right.
I don't follow, all of a sudden, because a certain style of music is all of a sudden become popular, I'm not going to kind of add some of that to my Cajun music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just either I like it or I don't. It comes from the heart, and it's something that you feel. And in other words, I don't follow fads or trends,
right,
or anything. And one thing Peter was saying, he said that a lot of people, because if they don't speak French and they don't know he said that word intricacies.
Yeah, the intricacies of the music. He might have said that, or I might have said it. That was the thrust of it.
It all sounds alike, and I've thought of that for many years. And,
yes.
And one thing I try to do to avoid that is I try to, when I'm playing, I try to mix the songs in such a way that the rhythms are changing from one song to the other.
Right.
The feel. Like, for instance, I won't play, if I'm calling a good set of music, I won't put two steps in the key of A back to back.
Okay.
That are played at about the same tempo.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you listen to the record Paradis,
mm-hmm.
you know, or Stir Up the Roof for that matter, if you go from one song to the next, each song has a different feel altogether.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's what I try to do when I play live. You know?
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like a quarterback calling the plays in football. You know, you try to mix up your play calling. And now, granted, there may be some people that might say, well, it still sounds similar. But I've had many people come up to me and say, one thing we like about the way you play is that, you know, from one song to the next, there's like different rhythms, there's different feel, and
right.
It doesn't sound all alike. I've had many people tell me that through the years, but I purposely think about it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want nobody to listen to me for 30 minutes and say, you know, I like Cajun music, but after about 30 minutes, I've had enough.
Yeah.
You know,
mm-hmm.
that would disappoint me.
Sure.
You know, so and okay, if, for instance, like say waltzes. Okay, I mean, there are some people. Okay, there are some people who follow Cajun music, particularly maybe some of the older Cajuns, who may feel that every two-step needs to be a certain tempo, certain speed, and every waltz played with a certain feel to it. And, you know, unless you're playing it that way, you're not playing it the way it should be played.
Right.
You know, I don't agree with that at all. In other words, I think if you had my Petit Cadeau album,
mm-hmm.
which is, there are 5 waltzes on that album. Out of 14 songs, there are 5 waltzes. And out of those 5 waltzes, if you were to play each one, they all have a whole different approach and feel to them. I mean, you can play a waltz that's kind of a bouncy waltz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you know, Bayou Teche waltz. Da 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 da. You know, that's kind of bouncy and upbeat.
Right.
Or, you know, Joel Sonia recorded the same song, and he made it really like slow and bluesy. Da 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 da.
Okay.
Da 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 da. You know, but if you listen to the 5 waltzes on that T. Cadeau album, you know, I got like a blues waltz, I got standard Cajun style waltzes, I got one that's almost like a polka. Da 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 da. You know, so in other words, I'm looking for as much variety musically as I can play. Okay, my definition of what I do is this. I think there are boundaries. There's a line on each side that says you're playing Cajun music or Zydeco music.
Okay.
You know, or what I like to say, I play Louisiana French music.
Okay, and you moved right into my second question, which is your consciousness of yourself as a Cajun artist. How do you keep that intact? How do you know when you're stepping outside it?
Oh, okay. Well, this is my definition. In my opinion, I don't step outside of it. I may get real close to the border.
Okay.
Some people may disagree with me.
Okay.
Now, but my definition is there's a line on each side that are the borders. But I think as long as you're playing, the music and the primary instruments in that music are the accordion and the fiddle.
Okay.
And if you're primarily singing in French,
okay,
then I think you're staying within the boundaries.
Okay.
You got to keep the French language in the music. You know, I don't. You know, occasionally I may sing a song like Sugar Bee in English or
right.
Jambalaya if somebody really wants it. I don't normally play it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or maybe some bilingual songs.
Yeah, which you do a fair amount of, I think.
90% is in French.
Yeah.
So I think if you keep the French language heavily into the music and your main instrumentation is the accordion and the fiddle, then you're within those boundaries. But I believe that you can play around with the rhythms. You know, like there's a song on my album, and you can get kind of far, like on the Paradis album, there's a song called the Jabby Lâché, which is kind of like a swamp, like a rock.
It's a swamp rock tune, yeah.
Right.
And I noticed that as soon as I put that record on, and it came up.
And of course, that's part of the variety. I would find it monotonous to just play 1 2-step, 1 waltz.
Right.
1 2-step, 1 waltz. 1 2-step, 1 waltz. That's the way some people like a dance. 1 2-step, 1 waltz, and then you play every 2-step at about the same approach, and every waltz with the same approach. I find that boring.
Yeah.
So I like to mix up. As a musician, I like to mix it up. And when I'm playing a dance or whatever, I don't want nobody to be able to predict what I'm going to do next. I don't want people to say, oh, he's going to play this next. I never use a set list.
Yeah.
Okay? In fact, when I've tried to make a set list, it makes me nervous. Okay? Because I want perfection.
Yeah.
And there's no perfect list, right?
Right.
So the only time I'll ever make a set list is if I'm forced to because of a TV or a radio show.
Okay, yes.
But I find my best approach is just to get on stage and be as spontaneous and relaxed as I can be, and just get out there and play as hard as I can and sing as hard as I can. I like to hit one song after another. When I play like Tipitinas, we'll do about a 2-hour and 15-minute set.
Right.
Something like that, and just keep the people dancing. And just the band, I don't tell them what we're going to do next. I can just hit the first note of a song, and they jump in. They know where I'm going. But and on the way to a gig, I may think of a few songs we hadn't played in a long time, and I'll say I'm gonna bring this out to them. And I think they'll probably get a kick out of this.
Do you what?
Because of that, occasionally we make mistakes. I mean, there's times when I'm getting in the microphone, and I don't know what I'm going to play till it comes out my mouth.
Right.
It might sound strange.
No, I believe you.
I mean, I'll start, and occasionally I fool myself, and I'll call a song that I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen too often. And but I mean, I've been playing the same dance for 15 years.
Right.
Tipitinas,
yeah.
So you don't stay at the same place if you play the same thing every week in the same order.
Right.
But so that's my thing is that I think you can vary the rhythms, but I think if the accordion and the fiddle are the main instruments and you got the French language, then I consider you staying in the borders. Now, some people may have a more narrow view than that. Now, my Paradis album, one thing I'm really proud of is that if you listen to that album, there's no guitar in that album, there's no keyboard on that album, there's no what I call outside instruments from outside. I mean, you got the drums and bass, which is your basic rhythm section,
right.
The accordion and the fiddle. And that album still sounds full.
That idea of outside instruments is an interesting one too. I mean, that suggests that there's things that just don't belong in the mix if you're going to get to a certain state of purity.
Well, there's different opinions on that. In fact, the vast majority. You see, what I've done in my career, if you listen to Stir Up the Root, when I was making a record, I may take the liberty to add a couple of overdubbed outside instruments in the recording. Because I thought it sounded good, and I enjoyed doing that, and I tried not to put too much of that so that when my live band would play, people wouldn't be disappointed. If I added a little piano, I might have done it like on maybe 2 or 3 out of the 10 songs or 12 songs, whatever.
Right.
One time I went to play somewhere, and there were actually 10 musicians that had played on one cut or another on the album. And they listed my band, and all of a sudden I saw the listing. They had like 10 musicians listed. And they had, like I had steel guitar in one song. Junior Martin, the accordion maker, played steel guitar in one of the cuts. And, they listed him as being in the band. I'm thinking, God, people expecting almost an orchestra up here.
Right.
And there's only 4 of us.
Yeah.
Accordion, fiddle, bass, and drums.
Yeah.
And, but my last album, as the songs were developing, you see, I played Tipitinas every Sunday. Started in June of '86, so it's been 15 years.
Okay.
And I'm there probably over 40 times a year. I do miss, like, if I go to Europe.
Yeah.
But see, like the other day I played up in New York. I flew home and played Tipitinas.
Okay.
The same day. You know, so if I'm anywhere within flying distance, I try to come home on a Sunday and play the dance.
Right.
It's tough because that means sometimes we don't sleep Saturday night.
Yeah.
You know, and you exhausted. But let's see, what was my train of thought?
Well, I'm not sure. We were talking about instruments and how broad-based the band is perceived by people because of the record listings. But you just play with your bass, rhythm section, guitar.
As I write and develop the songs,
yeah.
you know, that I'll eventually record. In other words, I'm playing them at Tipitinas.
Yeah.
I'm playing them at festivals. I may play a song for several years before I record it.
Right.
You know, and as these songs were developing on the Paradis album, I was just listening to the band playing, and I was saying to myself, this doesn't need no outside instrumentation.
Right.
You know, see, one thing that I do that is not part of the tradition is that when I'm singing, I play the accordion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or when the fiddle is playing its lead, I'm playing some accordion things under the fiddle.
Okay.
And of course and Gina that plays the fiddle with me is a very strong rhythm player. So we just recorded the thing with accordion, fiddle, bass, and drums with no guitar or keyboard. And of course, that's more simple than my earlier records, instrumentally.
Right.
But to a large degree, most people have gone the other direction. They've added keyboards to keep rhythm and
yes.
You know, electric guitars and things like that.
I noticed also that, and I might
but
be.
I do just I do like what I'm doing because I consider it more of a challenge as a musician. To fill it up with a smaller band. Okay, right. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm glad you added that. Well, I've also, I might be off by this a little bit, but my sense is, I'm looking at a track list actually right now, is that there's every record seems to have either a traditional tune or a tune that was composed by what most people would loosely agree are the pioneers, Wade Forget or Ken Ray Fontanet, or you've done some Clifton Chenier songs. Do you try to do that on each record? Get an older tune on there, or is that a conscious thing?
You know, I just kind of when I really finally decide it's time to make a record, I just really think about what I think I don't know, at the time what I feel is are real strong songs that we play very well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I want, you know, in fact, maybe some people, you know, people only know you by your records.
Yes.
And sadly enough, that's the way some people have never seen you play live. So all they know you by is the 4 albums you made.
Yeah.
They don't realize that you can play a lot more than what's on those albums.
Sure.
And so if people only know me by my records, they might say, well, Bruce doesn't play a lot of old traditional stuff.
I see.
And that's not true.
Yeah.
You know, if you come to a dance, you know, if you request 9 out of 10 songs that somebody's going to request, I can play. Maybe once in a while we play something that I really don't, you know, request something I don't have never really played. I may know the tune or
right.
But one time I was playing somewheres and I was playing for these people, and they only knew me by my CDs, and they had the CDs in their hands. And as I was playing songs, they were looking all over to see which CD it was on. I'm thinking it's not on any of them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've only recorded I think about 50 songs. And
yes.
We probably play maybe 300.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just a fraction of what we play.
Right. Did you have to learn to be a performer, to be a front man? Was that a hard thing to do?
Learn it. Well,
you know, practice it. I mean, did you tend to?
I fell into it.
Okay.
I guess I never practiced it. You know, I don't know. I guess I'm a good front man. You know, I started playing the accordion when I was about 20 years old.
Right.
Which is not real young. But
yeah.
I played music since I'm 5, and maybe you've read all that.
I've read some of your background,
okay.
But
I mean, I don't remember any time in my life where I wasn't playing music.
Right.
You know, I was around 5 when I started playing the guitar, and of course, then I started. You know, I mean, you know, I love Cajun culture.
Now, French was spoken in your family, right? Yeah.
My mom, my dad speak French. My grandparents.
Did you speak it as a little kid, or did you have to bone up on it?
Well, you know, basically, I would say, okay, most people here in Louisiana, basically born up until World War II, were raised totally French.
Right.
I mean, in the Cajun areas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You know, not everywhere in Louisiana is Cajun areas, but in the
right.
Cajun areas, people born up till into the 40s.
Yeah.
You know, were raised speaking French totally at home.
Right.
And then after World War II, it started changing, and I was born in the late 50s, and I would say I'm part of the generation where I'd say the majority of the people in my generation grew up understanding French.
Okay.
You know, because it was still spoken a whole lot in the 60s and
Right.
so